It's been a while since I've done a discussion video, so let's get real spicy and talk about Meganium. So Meganium has been around since the golden days, or rather the gold and silver days of Pokemon, because it is the grass type starter from Generation 2, and it definitely has pretty decent stats overall for a Generation 2 Pokemon. It has base 80 HP, 82 attack, 100 defense, 83 special attack, 100 special defense, and 80 speed. In retrospect, for a Generation 2 Pokemon, that is pretty decent. Like, outside of Tyranitar, which just has the pseudo legendary stats that it does, not a whole lot of Generation 2 Pokemon have such decent stats. Now, power creep is definitely a thing, which definitely does affect Meganium, but Meganium does have a few fun tricks up its sleeve. As far as its typing goes, it is a mono grass type, which means it has 4 resistances and 5 weaknesses. It resists electric, grass, water, and ground while being weak to bug, fire, flying, poison, and ice. Now, one problem that Meganium does have that is definitely not doing it any favors is there is a lot of very good grass type Pokemon in the current meta. You have Rillaboom, you got Ogerpon, Amoonguss, Whimsicott. Those are really strong grass types that are going to be competing for a slot on a lot of different teams, which means using Meganium might be a little bit more difficult unless you want to do some kind of pseudo like double pair up with 2 grass types on a team. But even then, you would probably see like something like maybe a Rillaboom and an Ogerpon, or an Amoonguss and an Ogerpon, something like that, which could make Meganium a little bit harder to use and fit into a team. But as I said, Meganium does have a few fun things in its move kit, so let's get spicy and talk about some of those. So just a quick side note, actually, because I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Somebody's using a chainsaw outside, so it's got this one here a little bit worked up. So if you hear that, or her just whining in the background, apologies in advance. Anyways, let's jump on into some movesets for Meganium. The first moveset here that I was thinking for a Meganium set would be a clerical supportive role with Heal Pulse, Light Screen, Reflect, and Giga Drain. Meganium has great bulk with the 100 in both of its defenses and the 80 HP, so we're going to take advantage of the fact that we're going to try to keep Meganium relatively healthy and around for as long as possible. As far as the EVs go, we have max investment into our HP to hit 187. We have 156 defense EVs with a bold nature to hit 154 points, and the remaining 100 EVs are going into our special defense to hit 133. And this spread might look a little bit similar, because technically this is an Incineroar spread that I just borrowed and just adjusted the order of to put into Meganium. So why more physical defense than special defense? Well, this is to help with the Ogerpon matchup. Depending on how you play your cards and depending on what kind of terror you have, you can easily wall out Ogerpon. If you're going up against an Ogerpon Wellspring, great, no need to Terra. Your grass typing will naturally resist Ivy Cudgel and Hornleech. If you run up against Heartflame and that Heartflame is not terrestrialized, well, if you have Terra Water or Terra Dragon, you can easily reduce the amount of damage the fire type Ivy Cudgel will do to you. But if you don't have your Terra, or your Terra is already in use, if the Heartflame Ogerpon is not terrestrialized, you do have a nice chance of living the Ivy Cudgel. Not the greatest, but you do have a nice chance of being able to live the Ivy Cudgel and potentially get off a support move to help with your partner for the doubles. So what I was thinking of for our item here on Meganium is one of two things. We can use a Citrus Berry or a Light Clay. The Citrus Berry here will give us back a quarter of our max HP when we hit 50% or less, which is relatively nice. Or what we could do is we could use the Light Clay to drag out our Reflect and Light Screen turns from 5 to 8. And the reason why that might be important here is because Reflect and Light Screen both have the amount of damage of moves that are coming your way. Light Screen here has the damage from special attacks, while Reflect has the damage from physical attacks. So you get a Reflect or Light Screen off, Meganium's partner is going to be in a relatively nice position to try to set up or just straight up sweep, depending on what you have on your team. And that's going to transition to Heal Pulse. Heal Pulse here is a great move for Meganium to have, especially if you're using a bulky Pokemon next to Meganium that you're trying to set up with, or you've already set up, Meganium comes in late game, and then uses Heal Pulse to breathe some new life into that bulky partner. What I was thinking for a potential partner for Meganium that this might be really nice for is Registeel and Raging Bolt. If you get your Iron Defense off enough times, Body Press with Registeel is going to absolutely crush things. So you get that Heal Pulse off into Registeel, you're healing up way faster than a Leftovers recovery boost is going to give you. So then Registeel can just continue to just absolutely smack things with that Body Press. For example, you look at the stats here on a Registeel, you have max HP investment, you hit 187, you have a Impish Nature with 156 defense. It's actually the same spread as the Meganium. What a quinky dink. But anyways, you have that 156 with an Impish Nature. You hit 209. You get up to +6 Iron Defense. Nothing is going to live that Body Press. Or rather, anything not ghost related is going to live that Body Press. I guess maybe a poison type or two. But anyways, point aside, not many things are going to appreciate a +6 Body Press coming off a 209 defense stat. So that's relatively nice for Registeel. And then if you look at Raging Bolt with an Assault Vest, if you have the Reflect and Light Screen, especially the Light Screen up, Raging Bolt's going to be taking next to nothing as far as the damage goes. You have Thunderclap to get a little bit of priority off and just take things out that might already be weakened. You have Thunderbolt to do strong amounts of damage. You have Snarl to keep special attackers further in line, and you just have Draco Meteor as a nice means of nuking something. Meganium gets that Heal Pulse off into the Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt's not going anywhere anytime soon, so that could be really nice at the end of the day. And plus, let's talk about Meganium's last move here, Giga Drain. This EV spread is not just centered for dealing with Ogerpon, it can also help deal with Urshifu, especially Urshifu Rapid Strike. Urshifu Rapid Strike does not have the best special defense, and it's also a water type. You hit that thing with a Giga Drain while Urshifu's going for a little bit of a nap. Yeah, so you can send Urshifu to Nap Nap Town with that Giga Drain, you heal back some more HP, and you can go from there. As far as the abilities on Meganium goes, it kind of doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You have Overgrow, which is the standard grass type ability here, where when you hit a third or less of your max HP, your grass type attacks go up 50%. So you could justify running Overgrow there in case you need to get a little bit of extra grass type damage with your Giga Drain, or you could run the hidden ability, which is Leaf Guard. Now, unfortunately, Meganium does not have the best hidden ability in the form of Leaf Guard, because basically what Leaf Guard does is it protects you from getting statused while the sun is set. So that's heavily dependent on whether or not the sun is set. Now, Torkoal is a thing when the restricted meta begins and Koraidon and Groudon are allowed. They'll naturally set the sun as well too. So you could potentially get away with having Leaf Guard protecting you from status conditions, especially poison. But you could also go for a different Terra option if you want to get around specific status conditions. So you could make a case for either Overgrow or Leaf Guard. That's my main thoughts on this first set. Let's jump on into the second one. I'm just going to let you take a moment to absorb this. Take it all in. Because set number 2 here is offensive physical Meganium. And yeah, let's be funny. Let's have some fun here and just see what a physical Meganium could potentially do here. As far as our item goes, the Clear Amulet is going to be our best friend, because then we don't have to worry about Intimidate, lowering our attack, or any of our stats for that matter. We are protected by our Clear Amulet so long as it doesn't get knocked off, which, to be fair, I've said it multiple times. Everybody and their mother has gotten access to knockoff, so we're going to try to mitigate the stat drops that we have with that Clear Amulet so long as we're holding it. We have Leaf Guard here as our ability, and then this way we can potentially not have to worry about getting burned or poisoned. If we're playing a Sun team, we have Torkoal and Ninetales currently available. So Leaf Guard might not be the worst ability to have for this particular set, but if you want to go for that extra damage with the Overgrow, be my guest. Run the Overgrow, have some fun with this, because we do have two grass type attacking options currently on the set in the form of Seed Bomb and Trailblaze. So you could justify running Overgrow and then just using a different Terra option to protect yourself from whichever status you don't like. Naturally, being a grass type, you don't have to worry about powder moves such as Spore putting you to sleep or redirecting your attacks such as Rage Powder. You do still have to worry about Follow Me, but at least grass typing does protect you from Spore and sleep powder, so you don't have to worry too much about sleep. If you want to go Terra Fire to protect yourselves from burns, you can do that. If you want to go Terra Poison to protect yourself from toxic wearing you down over time, you can definitely do that as well. So let's talk about the actual moveset here. We have Seed Bomb as our primary damaging grass type option here with base 80 power. That's going to be up to 120 once you factor in stab, so you do have that. Now Seed Bomb doesn't have any bonus effects there, it's just raw damage, but it's nice accurate damage, so you can have that nice little consistency there. But if you want to trade out any of these moves for a different coverage move, you could potentially make the case for switching out Seed Bomb instead. You get access to Knockoff here, which is going to be great for that initial 50% damage modifier when you remove an item, and plus that'll make your opponent's day a little bit worse by just slapping away that item, so that's going to be very handy for you at the end of the day. And plus Meganium's partners are still going to appreciate that once Meganium's off the field, because a lot of items go a long way mileage-wise for just making specific Pokemon insanely busted. So you remove those items, great. You just lowered them down to the mortal plane. So let's talk about the main reason why we're running a physical Meganium. That's because it gets access to Sword Stance, and honestly, I did not know this, but Meganium got Sword Stance right out of the gate from Generation 2. So being able to increase your attack 2 stages is relatively nice, and plus once you get that initial +2, you're doubling your attack stat, so you're going to hit some fun numbers with Sword Stance, especially if you get more than one off. And then we have Trailblaze here. It's not as strong as Seed Bomb, but it is a guaranteed stage 1 speed boost, so you break a Focus Sash, you get that speed boost, now you're going to have some fun, and plus if you're running Tailwind support, Meganium could probably go pretty hard with this. Not going to lie. Do I expect it to be the groundbreaking, worlds-defining meta? No, absolutely not. But it looks fun. So let's talk about the EVs here. We have max investment into our HP to hit 187, and then this way we're going to try to make sure that we're not completely glassy and that Meganium's just not going to faint before it gets its full set up off. So we're going to try to do that with the max HP investment. We have 116 points into our attack stat with an Adamant Nature to hit 128. You multiply that by 2 for the initial +2 Sword Stance boost, and you hit 156. That's actually, or you hit 256. I think I said 156. Anyways, 256 is a respectable number at the end of the day, so you're going to be hitting pretty hard once you get that initial Sword Stance. We have 44 EVs into both of our defenses, so that 187 HP is just not doing all of the groundwork. And then finally, we have 52 points on our speed to hit 107. And why 107? Well, once we have 107 here, we're going to be outspeeding the likes of Dragapult at a +2 if we get 2 Trailblazes off, or if we have Tailwind up on the field, we're going to be naturally outspeeding a lot of Pokemon. We go for another Trailblaze, and now we're just going to be further increasing the gap of what can actually catch up. Now, the other nice thing here too is Meganium doesn't necessarily have to go for the Sword Stance. It could also work relatively nicely if we have, like, say, something that is relatively fast that can get a Howl off, and then that way we hit at least a +1. So enter Screamtail and Gouging Fire. You make sure they're EV'd to get a speed boost with their booster energy, and then we could potentially go from there. And honestly, I kind of like the idea of Screamtail over Gouging Fire a little bit better, because Screamtail gets access to Light Screen and Reflect as well as Howl, so we could do that. But Gouging Fire can be nice too, because it does have access to that breaking swipe, and it's a lot harder hitting than Screamtail, so you know, it's a toss-up if you want your partner to be a wet noodle or Gouging Fire. So you do have that working for you if you have the Screamtail and Gouging Fire option next to the Meganium. You go for the Howl, and maybe you get really greedy. You go for the Sword Stance and the Howl, get to +3, and then just absolutely try to just trample things with Trailblaze and Seed Bomb or even Knockoff. So you could do that at the end of the day. All right. Let's cook with this last move set here. So right now I currently have Giga Drain, Fake Tears, Helping Hand, and Protect in the move slot, but this isn't going to be the final form of what I was thinking for a special attacking Meganium. This is just the groundwork right here. So what I was thinking here is Giga Drain is a nice stab option for Meganium because it does give you back some of your HP based off of the amount of damage you do. You get 50% of the damage dealt back. So that can be really nice if you're softening up a target first with Fake Tears. Fake Tears lowers the target's special defense 2 stages. This could be really great support-wise for Meganium because you're making Giga Drain do more damage. Or if Meganium has a special attacking partner, Raging Bolt, next to it, it's also benefiting from the Fake Tears drop into the target, so that could be really nice. We could also go with Helping Hand here to increase the firepower of the partner's move damage by 50%, and then we have Protect here to keep Meganium safe and healthy. But you don't necessarily have to run Helping Hand. Fake Tears is probably going to be really nice at the end of the day for a special attacking Meganium. So what we could potentially do if we wanted to especially run Leaf Guard is we could run Weather Ball. It's base 50 move that doubles in power when it has a weather status up on the field. So if it's sun, rain, sand, snow, it's going to jump from 50 to 100. If sun is on the field or rain is on the field, they naturally increase the power of fire and water type attacks by a 50% boost. Weather Ball also changes type to match the weather condition, so that's another 50% right there. So a fire type or water type Weather Ball is looking at 150 power. You could run Terra Fire, Terra Water on this thing, and then that way Meganium does have that extra bit of firepower working in its favor. And also let's switch this to Leaf Guard too, just for the sake of it. Now, originally what I was thinking is if we wanted to run the Helping Hand and the Fake Tears, well, we run more defensive on our Meganium spread. We got the max HP investment, we got 140 on a Calm Nature to help live special attacks. We get the 116 into our defense, stay at 135. But here's where we can start getting a little bit spicy. And we're going to change some EVs around. Let's drop this HP to, say, maybe 179. Let's put, I don't know, maybe 4 points into our speed so that we can invest some into our special attack. We're currently looking at 111. We'll drop this down to 150. Maybe we'll drop this down to 134, go up to 130. I don't like an odd number for this. We'll drop this down to 148 or 149 so that we can get up to 114. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the Fake Tears. We're going to keep the Weather Ball. We're going to change our item out. We're going to get rid of the Citrus Berry and run an Absorb Bulb. And basically here, when you get hit by a water type attack, you get a special attack boost 1 stage. So it's a single-use item, but this is going to be relatively nice because we're turning this Meganium not only into an Urshifu Rapid Strike killer, but we're going to turn it into a bit of a troll, because what we're now going to do is we're going to put Dragapult here. Dragapult is insanely fast. It's got a base 142 speed stat. I thought it was 143. But anyways, when you have a Jolly or Timid max invested Dragapult, you hit 213. Now, Fluttermane is going to outspeed this thing, but what we're going to do, we're going to slap a Surf on this Jolly Dragapult. Why Surf? Well, now we're going to hit ourselves with our Absorb Bulb. But why stop there? Colossal. Let's try to run Meganium, Colossal, and Dragapult together, because this could be really funny at the end of the day. Slap a weakness policy on the Colossal. Switch this to 50. And then that way too, you could use Terra Rock, Terra Fire, Terra Ground to reduce the 4 times water super effective damage to Colossal to a 2 times. You can have a Sunsetter like Torkoal and potentially go from there. So Meganium, Dragapult, Colossal. That could be especially fun, especially when you factor in the fake tears drops. So run a special Colossal, maybe run Heat Wave, maybe run Power Gem for rock type stab, maybe Earth Power. Bada bing, bada boom. You now have Protect here to keep Colossal safe. Terra Rock, Terra Fire, Terra Ground. You're getting stab on all of these. Might as well bring your speed stat all the way up. Run a Modest Nature here on the coal. And do something like that. You hit +2 with the special attack from the Surf with the weakness policy off Dragapult. And if Colossal doesn't hit the field and Meganium's there, well, you still at least have the Absorb Bulb to increase your special attack 1 stage. And because this is a Jolly Dragapult here, we're not going to be doing as much damage to the Colossal. So we can run a physical Dragapult here, slap in maybe Dragon Darts there, maybe Light Screen, and Will-O-Wisp. Now, is this very, very reminiscent of Support Dragon Ball from Generation 8? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure this is the exact spread. But do I think it could be funny in Gen 9? Yes, absolutely. And plus, if you really want to continue it, Gastrodon. There you go. Anyways, before I get too carried away with the Meganium here, that's the main thoughts on what I was thinking for the couple of different sets with the Meganium. We can do the initial supportive Cleric set with the Heal Pulse, Dual Screens, and Giga Drain. We could do a somewhat of a blasphemous physical sweeping set with the Seed Bomb, Sword Stance, and Trailblaze. We could do something like that, or we could do this last supportive one with the Fake Tears, because I think Fake Tears on Meganium is going to be a really fun move at the end of the day. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, Meganium does have a lot of competition for a grass type on people's teams, but I think it could be fun at the end of the day. Let me know what you think of Meganium down in the comments below, and I definitely love to hear those comments because I want to use Meganium at some point myself. I just really haven't figured out what I want to do with it, so would love to be persuaded running one thing or another. So anyways, see you later.